Prince Frederik, the youngest son of Prince Robert of Luxembourg and Princess Julie of Nassau, has passed away at the age of 22, leaving behind a legacy of resilience, compassion, and an unwavering spirit that touched the lives of many. Frederik's passing on March 1st was confirmed by his father, who made the heartbreaking announcement through the POLG Foundation's website. The foundation, which was established by Frederik himself, was his passion project, his way of fighting back against the rare genetic disorder that ultimately claimed his life. Diagnosed with POLG mitochondrial disease, a cruel and relentless condition, Frederik dedicated his years to raising awareness and pushing for advancements in research to help others who suffered from similar afflictions. Even in his own battle, he prioritized the well-being of others, showing the depth of his character. It is with a very heavy heart that my wife and I would like to inform you of the passing of our son, Robert, 56, wrote in a heartfelt statement, one that carried the weight of a father's sorrow but also the pride of having raised an extraordinary son. Frederik's final moments were nothing short of profound. He gathered his family on February 28, which was Rare Disease Day, a fitting and symbolic moment for a young man who had spent so much of his life advocating for those suffering from overlooked and under-researched conditions. With immense strength and clarity, he bid farewell to his loved ones in a manner that was deeply personal and poignant. His father detailed the gathering, painting a picture of love, loss, and resilience. "He called us into his room to speak to him for one last time," Robert recalled, his words evoking the sheer emotional weight of the moment. One by one, each family member approached him: his brother Alexander, his sister Charlotte, his father, his three cousins Charlie, Louis, and Donald, his brother-in-law Mansour, and finally his Aunt Charlotte and Uncle Mark. Each received a goodbye that was tailored to them, words carefully chosen by Frederik despite the physical toll of his condition. His father described these final exchanges as varied. Some were filled with wisdom, others with gentle humor, and some with poignant instructions, as if he was still guiding and caring for those he loved. But perhaps the most striking aspect of that evening was Frederik's signature humor. Even in his last moments, he ensured that his family shared a laugh together. In true Frederik fashion, he left us collectively with a final long-standing family joke, Robert revealed, a testament to the prince's unwavering spirit and his refusal to let sorrow completely eclipse his final hours. It was as if, even in the face of death, Frederik wanted his family to remember him with smiles rather than tears. His father then recounted a final question that Frederik asked him, a question that cut through the heartbreak and encapsulated the depth of their bond. "Papa, are you proud of me?" It was a question that carried immense weight, especially given the circumstances. Frederik, who had been struggling to speak in his last days, mustered the strength to voice these words with clarity, emphasizing just how much it mattered to him. The answer, as Robert explained, was never in doubt. He had heard it so many times, but at this time, he needed reassurance that he had contributed all that he possibly could in his short and beautiful existence and that he could now finally move on. The words hung in the air, marking an unforgettable moment between father and son, one where love, pride, and the pain of farewell intertwined. In his statement, Robert did not hold back in expressing his admiration for his son. "Frederik knows that he is my superhero, as he is to all of our family and to so very many good friends. Prince was more than just a young royal. He was a beacon of light for those around him." Robert described his son as someone who was born with a special capacity for positivity, joy, and determination, attributes that defined Frederik's approach to life. Even in childhood, he exuded an unshakable confidence and an innate ability to uplift others. "When he was little, I would always say that if there is one child of ours that I would never need to worry about, it was him," Robert reflected. His faith in Frederik stemmed from the young prince's remarkable qualities: his exceptional social skills, his razor-sharp sense of humor, and his deep emotional intelligence. These qualities set him apart, making him a leader in his own right. His father also highlighted Frederik's strong sense of justice, fairness, and decency, traits that he carried into every aspect of his life. "He was disciplined and organized beyond belief," Robert wrote, a sentiment that paints the picture of a young man who approached life with intentionality and drive. Despite the challenges of his disease, Frederik remained fiercely independent and resolute. Particularly headstrong, Robert noted, though he admitted that, at times, stubborn might have been the more accurate term. But it was this very stubbornness, this refusal to yield, that made Frederik the formidable force that he was. His siblings, his friends, and everyone who knew him admired this about him. "Frederik is the strongest person that we know," they would often say. His strength was evident in the way he faced his illness. Frederik fought his disease valiantly until the very end. His indomitable lust for life propelled him through the hardest of physical and mental challenges. It is impossible to sum up a life like Frederik's in just a few words. He was a son, a brother, a friend, and a fighter. He was an advocate for change, a young man who turned his struggle into a mission to help others. He was a reminder that even in the face of immense hardship, the human spirit can shine brightly. His passing leaves a void that cannot be filled, but his legacy will endure. POLG Foundation, his brainchild, will continue to push forward in his honor, striving for breakthroughs that may one day prevent others from suffering the same fate. His family, though heartbroken, will carry forward the lessons he imparted: the importance of laughter even in the darkest times, the value of determination, and the simple but profound power of love. As they mourn, they also celebrate the life he lived. A life that, though far too short, was rich with meaning and impact. A life that, in the words of his father, was nothing less than beautiful. Rest in peace, Prince Frederik. You were, and always will be, a superhero to those who loved you. Frederik entered the world carrying a challenge no one could have foreseen, a silent battle written into his very DNA. He was born with POLG mitochondrial disease, a rare and devastating genetic disorder, though at the time neither he nor his family had any way of knowing the profound impact it would have on his life. For years, he grew up like any other child, his condition lying dormant, unnoticed, until the first troubling symptoms began to surface. It wasn't until Frederik turned 14 that doctors were able to provide a clear diagnosis. By then, the disease had begun to show itself more aggressively, making its mark in ways that were impossible to ignore. His father, Robert, later reflected on the painful realization that his son's symptoms had not been fleeting childhood ailments, but signs of something far more serious, something that would change the course of their lives forever. POLG mitochondrial disease, as described by the POLG Foundation, is a relentless condition that strips the body's cells of their ability to produce energy, leading to the progressive failure of multiple organ systems. The brain, nerves, liver, intestines, muscles, and even vital functions like swallowing and vision can all be affected, leaving those diagnosed with it to face unimaginable physical hardships. For Frederik, living with this disease was an uphill battle, one that his father described as a burden he had to carry throughout his life. And yet, despite the weight of his condition, Frederik never let it define him. According to Robert, his son faced every struggle with unwavering grace, choosing humor over despair, resilience over defeat. Even as his health declined, he found purpose in advocating for others who suffered from the same disorder, dedicating himself to the work of the POLG Foundation.